All right, everyone. We are back for episode 8 of Stub Luv Live. Hope everyone's good out there tonight. We've got a really terrific guest that's going to be on, Mike Violi from Talking Tickets fame. I see he's already logging in because he's a pro.
Yo,
There he is.
here I
The
am.
legend himself. He is on.
How's it going?
Doing good. Doing good. Thank you for coming on. We appreciate it. I appreciate it. So let's jump in. You ready?
I'm always ready. Ready for some Stub Luv.
So, it's funny. I don't really know how you got into ticket collecting. I know that from listening to Talking Tickets, I know that you went to a national, you went with some friends who are big card guys. You don't collect cards, and you happen to kind of see a couple of tickets that you fell in love with. Is that the story, or is there more to it?
I think it was 2018, the national convention there. I always read about how cool it was for just sports collectors in general. So I got a couple of my buddies to say, hey, let's go on a guys trip up to Cleveland, go to the National, the NFL Hall of Fame, the Rock and Roll. I was like, this could be a really cool trip. So back in the day, we all collected cards. Well, we went out there, and my two buddies really kind of got back into it and bought a few things. And we're talking about, oh man, this is really cool. Let's buy these. I just couldn't do the card thing, like all of the variations, the different companies, the parallels. Like, man, that just made my head spin. But I was like, man, I want to get into something. And I saw one guy selling tickets, and I have the background as a, ticket broker, scalper, whatever you want to call it. And so I had that background, and he was a Notre Dame guy, and he was only selling Notre Dame tickets. And I grew up as a Notre Dame fan, so I was like, oh, this is perfect. So I brought I bought a Rudy full ticket, and I bought an old Nebraska, Oklahoma versus Notre Dame, where they broke the streak. And they're both full tickets, and the full Rudy was like $500, and the other one was even more than that. And I was just like, man, screw it. This will get me into it. And it's kind of like a sink or swim thing. And it worked out. I think I actually have the ticket. So these two, they're up on the wall. I got some love for them. So this was the first one I bought. It was raw. So it was the Rudy full.
Very cool.
And this is, I don't know if I've ever seen another one of these. I haven't checked the pop report much at all. So it's in 1957 when the Sooners, Notre Dame broke Oklahoma's 47-game win streak. And look at this thing. It's like a piece of art, right?
It really is. It's super.
Yeah,
super
it's super cool. I don't know, how much of collectors would be into something like this, but I mean, just the look of it, the history. I was like, man, and I bought those two items, and then it was kind of off to the races.
Really cool. So let me deviate for 1 second, because you said something. I don't think I've ever asked you about this, or we've ever talked about it. But in your scalping broker days, what was the biggest event, biggest dollar amount kind of ticket that you were brokering?
I had some World Series, when the Rangers made the World Series, some good seats. I never did the Super Bowl thing. It was always kind of started with concerts, and then I went into mainly sports, because that's what I knew the best. And it's kind of like a combination of gambling, real estate, and picking stocks. So it's kind of you're trying to find the right horses to bet on, and then if the one goes all the way, then it's kind of where you make your money.
Gotcha. So we've talked a little bit about how you got into it. Talk to me a little bit, Mike, because I haven't asked anyone this. What do you think is the real definition of a rare ticket?
I consider a very rare ticket 10 or less on the pop report. When somebody says, man, that's super rare, I consider that super rare. 20 or less, 15 or less, definitely rare. 20 or less, pretty rare. Then after 20, I don't really consider it rare. I mean, that's where the pop starts getting, not rare, basically.
It's kind of funny that you say it because, if you think about cards, I mean, there are thousands and thousands of these cards, and you're talking about a rare ticket. And if there's 25 to you as one of the big names in tickets, it's not even rare.
Yeah, their cards is just a whole nother beast. They talk about 10,000 Zions and 20,000 Lukas, and it's the numbers are mind-boggling. But it's a numbers game. We're a fraction of card collectors, so 1% or 0.5% of what a total of a famous card will be. Well, that's kind of a ticket. Well, there's 5 or 10 instead of like hundreds.
Yeah. I know that you're going to Cleveland for the National this year,
Yes.
correct? You're going to be setting up again like you were last year.
Yep, that's the plan.
Best ticket experience. Was it the National last year or something else?
Ticket collecting experience. I think it was last year's National just because of the turnout with, everybody showing up. It was unlike any other Nationals before. It almost feels like there's a hardcore community now and everybody kind of knows each other. So it's kind of a once a year meetup for all the people who communicate online. And other than that, I'm trying to think of a crazy collecting story. That story where I bought that box at the card show for $500. I guess I can tell this story. So I was working a card show, and I walked around, and there was an old ticket scalper who basically from the 80s and 90s, he would just put all his old tickets in a box. And I went up to him and basically said, hey, what are you selling this box for? And he's like, I don't know. It goes $500. I was like, man, I don't know what's in here, but I'll take it for 500. I wasn't even going to negotiate. It could have been a bunch of junk. It could have been amazing. And then when I got home, I was like telling my wife, I was like, man, all I want to do is find the gold. And I was like, got near the end. I was like, man, I really found anything. And then I started looking through and I saw, some Akeem Olajuwon debuts in there, which was mind blowing because they're so rare. And I think there was only like 1 or 2 at the time. And I was just like, oh my gosh, I found the gold. And that was like super crazy exciting. Like, this is unbelievable.
I think like me, and I think like everyone, like you too, it's kind of the hunt. It's cool to find something that someone has and you get to buy it and it's a grail and all of that. But it's also pretty cool to find like a collection of nothing, and then you're like, whoa, there really is something here. And like you found that box, some truly amazing stuff.
Yeah, I was at the card show last week, Saturday in Houston, and older man in his 70s came up to me and like sold me all the stuff that he attended back in the day. So even stuff like this that isn't like crazy valuable, like all these like old Rice tickets and like old Texas Longhorns tickets. And I think the best one that I found in there, which was really cool, was UT A&M, the big rivalry, 1963, the week after Kennedy got shot. And this was UT's national championship year. And I mean, it's just a super cool looking ticket, by itself. And you throw all those other things in, I'm like, man, this is, I hadn't even thought about something like that. And then you find it in the box and just kind of blown away by it.
It's funny. I know you set up in Atlantic City at the National 2 years ago, and it was cool to talk to you and meet you, but just think about how different that National was to last year's National in Chicago. Like, fewer collectors of tickets, fewer dealers of tickets, kind of less activity, a little more boring, I think, and kind of like, I don't know, not as much action. And last year, the National, I just thought was like head and shoulders above the year before in AC.
Yeah, you see that at the National because, a lot of the collectors come out, and it's great now because when there was maybe one table at the Cleveland National, which was some random guy that collects Notre Dame tickets, now, there'll be 4 or 5 dedicated tables, and there'll be, tickets scattered all throughout on multiple vendors, 50, 100 tables. Well, before it was literally one, and now you're talking about hundreds where people are selling tickets.
So you set up at the Houston TriStar show?
Yes.
Was there anyone else there that was selling tickets, or just you?
There were multiple tables that had tickets. I was the only dedicated ticket guy, but I saw people with Super Bowls, and some people that had random things. One guy had the Wayne Gretzky Pro debut ticket there. Yeah, I think he was affiliated with Memory Lane, and I asked him how much, and I was like, "Oh man, could this be like the steal of a lifetime?" But he's like, "No, 100,000." I was like, "Oh, okay."
Did you buy it, Mike? Did you put it in the bag?
I'm not paying 100,000 for that.
So, talk to me a little bit. I know we've all had, this experience, but what is the one ticket that you've sold and you regret?
Ooh, it's an easy one. I had the Ted Williams last game, and I don't think I've ever seen another one for sale. It's kind of when I started collecting early, and I didn't have like a collecting plan. I was just kind of like, this is cool. Well, I'll put this on eBay, and I don't know if I really want this. And then as time has gone on, I was like, man, I'm kind of a Ted Williams fan. That was an amazing game, amazing moment. It's super rare. And I was like, man, that thing is gone, and that thing ain't coming back either. And I think I may have sold the program with it too for like way too less. But yeah, that's a regret.
I won't ask you how much you sold the ticket for. I'll just leave it be. Looks like it's unearthing some bad emotions. What do you think is the most underrated ticket hobby wide?
I have 2 that came to mind, and I own them both. This I don't think gets enough love, even though it's not the prettiest of tickets. It's the Secretariat Belmont. This is a super rare one, and just like one of the top, I don't know, whatever you want to rank it, sports moments ever. If you're not into horse racing, it may not mean much, but if you're even casually into horse racing, that's just a monster. I mean, this is the greatest horse racing event ever. And this one, which I don't see really often, this is one of my favorite events too, is the Rebirth game. The Saints came back first time in the Dome. And I love this just because I think it's historic. I think the ticket's amazing. It's really big. It's got Drew Brees and the other guys on the ticket. And, it's a rare ticket, which surprises me. I feel like a lot of season ticket holders in New Orleans probably have them laying around. But if you talk to any Saints fan that attended that game, they'll say by far the loudest, most emotional game they've ever been to, like literally people crying, in the stadium.
I think, was that also, I think that was the Steve Gleason punt game.
I mean, they got a statue outside. I mean, what more do you want? I mean, it's basically the city of New Orleans. They talk about the Super Bowl, NFC Championship. They're like, man, that was the greatest, like, most memorable moment ever as a Saints fan.
What do you think is the most overrated ticket hobby-wide right now?
I think the most overrated one is, I'm not anti-debut. Like, I have quite a few debuts. But, man, NFL debuts bother me when it's not something that was part of the game. Like the Joe Montana one, he held an extra point or a field goal, I think, and it's got like the Vikings logo on it. So I personally don't like that one much just because of that, because it was, I think somebody asked him about the game and he didn't even remember, holding the extra point or debuting. So to me, that's kind of a weird one. But it is Montana's technically debut, but if I had to give it overrated, I would probably say that one.
Yeah, I kind of feel similar in some respects relative to some of these debuts. It's, I don't know, nothing happened that was all that spectacular, but at the same time, it's their debut.
Right.
And
that's the flip side of it. Like I think Cal Ripken's debut he was a pinch runner.
Right.
So it's not really, probably a no-no nothing game, but I mean, like I say, it's his debut, so it definitely has lots of value.
So I consider you someone who not only is a diehard collector, but you also do, some trading, and I think you have a good eye because of the show that you have and just how long you've been in it. You have a good eye for investment quality stuff or making good investments in tickets. If you had $1,000 right now, Mike, where would you put your money? Where would you put that money investment wise relative to tickets?
I don't know about a specific ticket, but I feel like historical full tickets with relatively low pop numbers, probably pre 2005, which was, I would consider, the pre barcode era, where you physically had to take your ticket into the event. So if you found something like that and it's something that you were a big fan of, I feel like that is a good starting point. And, a full ticket's always going to be pretty rare. But if you can't get a full, even a stub, but, once you get into the modern tickets, which I consider like post 2006, where you didn't have to take your ticket to the game, or maybe they just scanned it, but especially if you didn't have to take your ticket into the game, people could be sitting on a lot of those in like season ticket booklets. And that kind of started, I think around like 2008 and after.
We know you have some grails. We know you got some big boy tickets. And I know I begged you yesterday to go over to the bank and pull some of them out for us. So just show away. Show away.
Well, I just grabbed a couple of the bigger ones. Well, this is the Jackie debut. This is kind of a unique one because it was SGC. And I don't know, I don't think it's in the top 3 or 4, but it's a really nice one. Presents really well. I bought it on Heritage like in 2018. And, people said, oh, go get PSA or maybe Beckett to grade it. But, if I'm not going to sell it anytime, there's really no point. And I don't see a huge reason to get it graded. It's kind of like a take it to your grave, unless I really need the money kind of thing.
Can I ask you without prying too much, what did you pay for it back when you bought it?
That was, you can find it on Heritage. I'll just say it was less than $35K. And when I bought it, I was sick to my stomach because it was so much money, and it was kind of a good thing. I was kind of ignorant, and I was like caution to the wind. And when you're kind of more in the middle of in the thick of it, you realize, oh, well, this sold that long ago, and then you don't want to pay that much. But at the time, it was just like, I know this is the best ticket out there. I'm gonna get it. And the crazy thing is, I don't ever complain if I don't get a ticket because I was done bidding. This was my very last bid, and if the guy, whoever I was bidding against, bid one more time, I was done, and he did it. And I bought it, and I was just like, oh, like sick to my stomach because it was so much money. But then it all worked out, so that was good.
Did you ever tell your wife what you paid for it?
Yeah, because it was kind of so ridiculous at the time. But almost you just laugh about it. But then you kind of cross your fingers and hope you made the right decision.
Yeah. Hope your wife doesn't divorce you either when you tell her. That's always a big cross your fingers too.
Well, this is a crazy one too. The another kind of ridiculous story. I bought this about the same time too when I started getting into it. This is Lou Gehrig's Luckiest Man, and this is a really, well, I say super rare. I think there's less than like 6 of these graded. Where the Jackie, I think, is around 10 or 12. And I bought this, I think, like 2019, and it was another, I thought it was kind of a Grail ticket for sure. And when I bought it, one sold earlier on Heritage, like 4 months before. Well, this was like the partner ticket, the one right next to it. And it was going for slightly less than the one that it sold for. And I put my last bid in like 4 days before the auction ended. It was a higher grade too. This is the highest graded one as far as I know. I haven't looked in a while. And there's no bids for 4 days. And I won it, and I was like, oh crap, did I overpay for this? Because this is when I first started getting into this. Like, did I kind of get bamboozled here, swindled? Like, somebody shill bidded the other one, then I bought this one, and now they're laughing. So that time I was almost mad when I won it, which is kind of So I can't ever complain if I don't win something or don't get something, because I feel like I had good karma on these two tickets. But I've had some other ones that I've way overpaid for and all that. So I'd say I wouldn't say it evens out, but you don't win them all. That's for sure.
I'll say this. I agree too. I mean, there's been some mistakes I've made, and I've probably overpaid on stuff. But for sure, I think if I looked at the balance, I think I'm ahead. And just looking at those two tickets, Mike, obviously, unless you made some real stupid moves, you're way ahead, dude. So, congrats. Anything else that you brought there? Any other grails or any recent pickups?
No, other than at the show, the guy just, I'm trying to think of all the things that he brought, but man, I just have so much stuff. Like, here's all my things that I've been messing with. I'll see if you can see all the, like, my, to go that I took to the show, and all the things that, I'm trying to, figure out if how much I want to sell them for. So I feel like I'm more in the collector, not, I'm a major collector, but I have that, seller dealer part in me also.
All you need is some like blue flickering thunder like lights above you in Kobe Bryant jerseys, and
No, I'm
you're
nowhere
almost
near
like my
that.
man.
No, I'm not even close.
um, what Grail tickets are you still searching for? What are you missing as part of your collection that if you'll tell us that you're still hunting?
You have missed out on the Jordan Red debut a couple times. That's like, I feel like part of the karma of me getting the other ones. I'm a big Mavericks fan. I've never seen a Dirk Nowitzki debut, even though I know it's in Seattle, so it probably doesn't look that cool. Even a dumb ticket, like there's a famous Maverick game, their first series win, like in the 90s, where a guy named Calvin Booth hit a game winner in Utah. And for a Mavericks fan, that was like the biggest deal ever, because it was like their first big series win or playoff series win in like 20 years, 15 years. I've never found that. I went to a game 7 in San Antonio when the Mavs beat them in '06, and I've never found that ticket. Off the top of my head, those, it's very specific, but that's the thing about tickets. I've been looking for these tickets for 5 years, and I've never seen them. So you want to talk about a treasure hunt? Like, you just don't find some.
And if you've never seen them with your name in the industry and going to shows and things like that, I don't know. Maybe they're just not out there, or we're never going to see them.
Yeah, I know there's some buried, in some fans' desk drawer, and then they'll pop up randomly on eBay one day. Be like, yes, but then you got to like buy them before somebody else gets them.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's jump into the gauntlet. You're gonna run the gauntlet with
Ready,
Stub Luv.
ready for that
You ready?
gauntlet.
All right. Ready? Let's rock and roll. Stub or full?
Full, mainly because the rarity, and especially the ones that are ripped. Back in the days, like the Steelers and like the Browns, when they got your ticket, they just rip them. And they're I wouldn't say they're ugly, but they don't have as much character. You get that full ticket, like this. There's tickets like this that are ripped right in half. I mean, look at that beauty. I mean, look how great that looks as a full.
Yeah.
So give me the full.
Looks like art. PSA, Beckett, or no slab at all?
Man, it's a tough one. I feel like PSA is still ahead of Beckett, but for me, I live in Dallas, and going to Beckett is so easy and so cheap compared to PSA, and safe. I could drop them off, pay for it, pick them up. If I have a $1,500 ticket, they're charging me $40. If I have a $50 ticket, they're going to charge me like $40. So pros and cons, but overall, all things being equal, right now, PSA.
Debuts or moments?
Moments, no doubt.
I think I know the answer to this one. Signed tickets or unsigned tickets?
Ooh, to me, if the signature does not obstruct or mess with the artwork. So there's some tickets I look at, I'm like, you know what, that just wouldn't look good signed. But any box office ticket, 100% signed, not box office, like pretty nice artwork, logo, I'm going to think twice about, getting that signature.
Gotcha. PSA 10 ticket or a PSA Pop 1 ticket?
Ooh, pop one.
Rarity. Always going for rarity.
Yeah, rarity, especially now, the modern tickets, the 2008 to today, there's so many out there. So there's tons of tins. So, give me the rare one.
So I think you're still missing these. So I'm going to go with my gut here. If you've picked one of these up, you'll let me know. Are you more interested in acquiring a Hogan Beats the Iron Sheik
Ooh.
or a Rumble in the Jungle Ali Frazier?
I actually have a Rumble in the Jungle Frazier now.
Okay,
I could
there
have
you go.
busted that one out. Um, so I would take the Sheik Hogan, but man, those tickets are getting expensive. And that's one of those ones where they're ripped in half, so it doesn't look as cool. I would love it full, but I know that would be insanely expensive.
Yeah, I don't know that exists. Maybe
I
somewhere
think there's
one
one.
day.
I think the
Oh,
Pop Report says there's one. I'm sure
wow.
Eric Sander owns it.
Wow. That's pretty cool. Better investment. I know you've talked about these two tickets. A 2022 World Cup final ticket, Messi and Argentina win, or the 2023 World Baseball Classic final, Otani strikes out Mike Trout.
I would say the Messi one, just because that was so historic, not only for Argentina, but I mean Messi to finally get win a cup. I think that's kind of made him the GOAT, made him just just an epic. If you're a Messi collector, I don't know how you wouldn't own something like that.
So I'm going to, again, a little bit of a homage to in this question because of the recent events. And I know you're a little bit of a fan like I am. Is Apollo Creed the best name in the Rocky movies?
I don't know. Clubber Lang's pretty good. Ivan Dragoff, Clubber Lang, Apollo Creed. Man, I would say I think I would give the nod to Apollo Creed. I think that does get the win.
It's funny because my question afterwards was if you went yes or no, it was going to be, well, how about Clubber? How about Drago? So you beat me to it. Better place to sell tickets, Mike, Booger Stubs or eBay?
Ooh, pros and cons. Boogers. I feel like you put something on Boogers, you're gonna get. It's kind of a pain going back and forth sometimes. You get a lot of low ball offers, but eBay, more eyeballs, could possibly get a higher price. Man, I'll give a shout out to Boogers. Give Boogers some love. If you want something and maybe it can be a simple transaction. So I'd say Boogers.
Yeah.
Plus, it's free.
Free and no one giving you all kinds of fees, and you're not worrying about the tax man and all that good
No
stuff
doubt.
too. So you showed two tickets tonight. You showed the Jackie debut and you showed the Gehrig Luckiest Man. If push came to shove, which are you selling or trading first?
Man, I got to keep the Jackie just because that's, I think, the number one ticket. I have a lot of people, a lot of big collectors have hit me up about that Gehrig because I think I've mentioned before I'd be open to trading it. So the Sean's of the worlds and other people have been like, hey, how you want to trade that Gehrig? And I'm like, well, what do you got? Unless you're coming with like a Jordan red, I don't think I would be up for a trade. It'd have to be something like that.
Who's the better host of Talking Tickets, you or Sean?
Oh, so I'm the host, so I got to be the best.
You guys are
No,
both pretty darn
no, it's
good. I'll
not.
say that.
It's all Sean's idea to do it because we met at the Chicago National, and he's like, nobody does any content. For some reason he said I should do it. I was like, okay, maybe. I've never really messed with it, and I started posting videos of like opening PSA packages, and then he's like, man, that's great. Keep doing it. And then I think I was saying, hey, well, why don't we do it together? Or he did, one of the two. And somebody asked me about what ticket do I regret not buying? And it was Sean's ticket that he bought, the Jackie he owns. But then I said, if I would have bought that ticket, I don't think we ever would have done the show. So I'm glad I don't own the greatest Jackie Robinson debut ticket, because therefore me and Sean would never have done the show and do all that we've done.
Do I have a chance of stealing Sean's job as the permanent co-host of Talking Tickets?
No way, you got Stub Luv, man. This is great. You know, you're like rapid fire every week. Like you can't like not stop doing. I guess you could do both, but you gotta keep doing the Stub Luv thing.
You know I'm teasing. Now this one's an easy question for me. You better get it right, Mike, or I might come to Dallas and I don't know, rough you up a little bit. But who is your best guest ever on Talking Tickets?
Oh, best guest ever.
Hey.
Ooh, I know Sean's watching. If he can help me out. No, maybe Darren Ravel, maybe Justin Sutterfield, the 8 times we've had him on, or maybe it was Howard, the Bulldog, Citron. I don't even know if I'm saying your name right. Citron.
Yeah, you're saying it right. You're saying it right. You're saying it right. Man. Well, that to me is the only answer, Mike Violi. So that's got to be it. Oh, look, man, I got Sean throwing out names. No
Mark
one's
Townsend,
putting my name out there.
Mr. Watermelon Margarita himself. He may have been the best.
Yeah,
most memorable.
Well, appreciate you coming on, Mike. It was really nice to talk to you. Great to see some of those amazing tickets. For everyone out there, you got to watch Talking Tickets. Mike posts it on his Instagram page at The Bomb Tickets. He posts when he and Sean are going to have an episode. And for me, and I know for a lot of people watching, it is a must-see. I watch it when I'm on the treadmill in the morning because it's good. It's good for my soul. I love watching it. I love hearing what you guys have to say. And you guys have been both really good to me. So if anyone's out there listening and you have any questions, you need ticket collecting or investing advice, you got to talk to Mike. He is the man.
Yeah.
And I would appreciate it if you guys would reach out to him because he knows a whole heck of a lot about this. So thanks for coming on, Mike.
Message me. You guys ever have questions about anything? I don't know. I don't have all the answers, but I'll try, or may know somebody who does.
Yeah. He's honorable, trustworthy, and he just has a lot of really good information. So make sure you check him out. So with that being said, episode 8 of Stub Luv Live is done. Thank you very much, Mike, for coming on. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Be well. Bye-bye. Take care. Yeah.